This is Rocky Mountain Voices.
How are customers or how are the prospects receiving this? I mean, a large bank, for example, or a healthcare organization, what are they saying to you about this?
You know, it's very mixed depending on the organization that you talk to, and some are very concerned about costs, and they sort of think in today's environment all about how do I save money.
Right.
And if you give them a path on how they can save money, it's less about all the cool features and all the cool new things that you can do with it. It's just that it has an immediate impact to the bottom line. There are other organizations that aren't as concerned about cost savings, but they're more concerned about how relevantly they touch the customer and how branded and how differentiated their communication is. And so when they see that potential and they see that technology, those are things that get them excited. So I think that we sort of use the analogy at the company as we have this little five-sided star that depending on who you're talking to, they're either really concerned about marketing and differentiation and branding and touching the customer. Those are things that are extremely relevant to them, and those are things that we focus on. And if there's security and fraud and phishing and all these other scourges that plague the email system and trying to communicate with a customer electronically, and if we're talking to a CIO or a CTO, there's a huge drivers for adoption depending on the audience. So I think that we have a technology and we have a solution that is really multifaceted, right? It appeals to different parties at the table. And I think that as we've talked to marketers and as we've talked to the CIOs and as we've talked to product and different folks, the response has been extremely positive. Insurance companies, particularly in the health insurance side, are excited to be able to tell the story that they can connect their patients to the physicians, and the physicians can be involved in the patient care puzzle. Not only is there a cost reduction there, but there's an improvement in timeliness and in care that goes out to the patient. So those are all really compelling. So each of these opportunities for us is enormous. Just healthcare alone could be a marketplace that we never get out of, just because there's so many applications and there's so much potential there. But there's huge needs in legal, right? And you talk to an attorney, it's like, well, I need people to sign things. And, well, how do they do that today? They mail it to them for signature. Or if they're really progressive, they'll print something, then they'll sign it, and then they'll scan it, and then they'll send it, and they don't know if they got it because email doesn't tell you that, and so they have to call them, and then they print it, and then they sign it, and then they scan it, and then they send it back. So you just think about how horribly inefficient that is. We have the ability to really save time, and when you start talking about a professional, like an attorney, everything to them is time. Right. And so if you can start to save time on these mundane and more menial things, it gives them more time to bill and more time to engage the customer on things that are more important. So it's been extremely positive. And I think our biggest challenge isn't so much where are the applications for this. I think the applications are very horizontal. They're across the board.
Communication.
Exactly. It's just like you need to send an email. It's not an industry vertical sort of thing, right? Communication transcends all of those vertical markets. So in our case, it's really one of focus. We can't serve everybody. So we're just going to try to identify markets where there's just a huge need. There's a great receptivity for our technology and for our product and service offering. And we're going to do our best to really execute well within those particular segments.
So the U.S. Postal Service had FedEx come after them. FedEx now has UPS, and I guess the Postal Service now has overnight delivery. What are you guys doing to shore up the dike and make sure you guys can have a fast and easy run at the big market here?
Well, there's a lot. I mean, being first to a market with new product and new technology certainly helps, right? Because you get to be different than everybody else, and there's no sort of me toos yet. We do have a really strong IP portfolio. We have 12 patents that we filed.
Wow.
And it's kind of like giving birth to 12 kids, just the amount of effort and attention and consideration that goes into that. We have an additional 4 that are in process, so we should have 16 patents filed by our open house this Thursday. So, a very significant amount of IP, and we think that that's going to go a long way. We're crafting some really terrific partnerships we can't disclose yet, but we will hope to disclose shortly. That'll give us really, I think, a preferential advantage in the marketplace in certain industries, give us access to markets and the customer bases that we couldn't even dare to go get ourselves on our current capital structure. So we're very excited about that. And, I think the last sort of thing that I would hit on is that this is a gargantuan marketplace, right? I mean, Sendside's sort of first at defining this new segment and going after it, but there's room for 100 Sendsides. And I think that we're not going to be able to service everybody's communication need, and we're not going to be able to give everybody the attention they need. So there's definitely room for more than one company like Sendside. So there's a lot of room to operate, and there's a lot of room for us to be wildly successful before we have to start dealing with a competitive situation.
Well, William, thank you very much. It was great to meet you, and I think this has got some legs. Good luck with it.
Well, I appreciate your thoughts, and great to have you here in our office, and appreciate the opportunity. Thanks.
Good luck with the party this week.
Oh, thanks very much. Should be fun.
This has been a Rocky Mountain Voices podcast. Visit us on the internet at www.rockymountainvoices.com.